This is Unit 6, Lesson 4. We're going to be working on long division today. So we're going to be doing it with polynomials, so dividing a polynomial by another polynomial. I know, can you remember doing long division so long ago? So let's start off by just reviewing some division of monomials, meaning one term divided by one term, to make sure we're all clear on those rules. So in this first example, so remember if I'm dividing by 3RS, everything in the numerator gets divided by that. And when we divide the coefficients and we divide our variables, or the shortcut is to just subtract your exponents. So I'm doing 6r squared s squared divided by 3rs. So that leaves me with 2rs, right? Because 6 divided by 3 is 2. R squared divided by r is r. S squared divided by s is s. All right, and then I divide the middle terms, which leaves me with just an s. The 3 is reduced to 1, the r is reduced to 1. And the only time I need to write the 1 is if nothing else exists, like everything canceled out, and we'll see that in a later example, because you would need a placeholder. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. I'm left with r. Okay, and my second one, divide everything by 3ab, which leaves me with just a as my first term, 2a squared b, and 6. And then in my last one, dividing by 3x, so I get 4xy minus 1. So here's an example where the two things I'm dividing by happen to be the same, so I need that 1 as a placeholder. It doesn't just disappear. All right, and that should be a very quick review from Algebra 1 stuff of just dividing monomials. All right, now let's remind ourselves long division with numbers. Okay, so what we're doing is we have our dividend, which is what is under the radical, and then, the dividing sign, and then the divisor is what you're dividing by. So we're saying, how many times does 17 go into 34? Or what is 34 divided by 17? We first try in 3, but we know 17 doesn't go into 3, so then we combine it with the next number. And I know that 17 goes into 34 twice, 2 whole times. 17 times 2 is 34, so I multiply, subtract, bring down the next number. Okay, so it's divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. And we're going to utilize that when we get to the polynomials in just a moment. So then we have to say, okay, how many times does 17 go into 6? It doesn't. So I need to put a 0. I need a placeholder. Doesn't go in at all. 0 times 17 is 0. Subtract, bring down. So how many times does 17 go into 62? 3 times. Divide. So now multiply, which gives me 51. Subtract, which gives me 11. Bring down. How many times does 17 go into 113? I believe it's 6. One moment, please, just to verify. But I'm pretty sure it goes in 6. Yep, not evenly, but it goes in 6 times. So I multiply 6 times the 17, 102, subtract, which leaves me with 11. Okay, now from here we can put a decimal point and bring down and do decimals, but we don't need to. Is that right? All right, so we have a remainder. And if you think back to when you first learned about long division, you probably wrote like R11, which we all did when we first learned. But really the remainder means that you have 11 left out of 17. We're saying how many groups of 17 can we make? We made 2,036 whole groups, and then we've got 11 people left over. All right, so really when we write our number, it's a fraction. We don't just write the R. It's truly understanding what that remainder is. And of course, we could do 11 divided by 17 to get the decimal, but we don't need to. All right, so we're going to use the same process of long division for polynomials now. Once you get it, it's really not too challenging. It's just remembering and understanding the process. So you've got to remember divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. It's the same. But what we need to look at is the first thing you're going to divide is the first term of your dividend by the first term of your divisor. So it's just, that's all I'm dividing right now. So I'm doing x squared divided by x, which gives me x, and I put that up top. So that was the divide part. Now we multiply. So this is where you got to be careful. I'm going to multiply the x by both of these. Sorry, and it shows you the step over here. But I'm doing x times x and x times 3. I'm multiplying by the entire divisor. Okay, what I'm dividing by. That gives me x squared plus 3x. Okay, so I divided first, then multiplied by both. Now we subtract. they should cancel out. Those first terms should always cancel out. X squared minus x squared, they do. Negative 5x minus 3 is negative 8x. Please be careful with your signs. Okay, if you want to just change the signs and write plus and then change those so you can see it better, that's fine. All right, so we divided, we multiplied, we subtracted, bring down. Now I repeat the entire process. The first part of the dividend divided by the first part of the divisor. Negative 8x divided by x. Negative 8. Now I multiply. Negative 8 times x is negative 8x. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. Now we subtract. Negative 8 minus negative 8 cancels. Negative 24 minus negative 24 cancels. 0. Okay, now that tells me I don't have a remainder. That's not always going to be the case, and we'll look at what to do in our next one if there's a remainder. But what that also tells me is that what I divided by is actually a factor, okay? And think about it in terms of numbers. When you do 6 divided by 3, you get 2, because 3 is a factor of 6. There is no remainder. Versus if I do 5 divided by 3, I get 1 2/3. That was my remainder, because 3 is not a factor of 5. It doesn't divide in evenly. I get a fraction left over. So when I come down here and I have no remainder, it's telling me that what I divided by was a factor, meaning that this really factors into x plus 3 and x minus 8. Okay, so it's another way to kind of help you with your factoring. But if I'm just asking you to divide, your answer here is x minus 8. That's what I got when I divided x squared minus 5x minus 24 by the x plus 3. All right. Let's take a look at another example. And if at any point you need to pause and rewind and re-listen, please do. Okay, when you watch the videos, it's not the same in class where you have that break to ask questions. So it's up to you to make sure you are moving it along at your own pace. All right, now, super important, this sentence right here. If a term is missing, then it must be included when you rewrite the problem. So when I look at this one, the term of the dividend, what I'm dividing, okay, not what I'm dividing by. So if you notice, I have x cubed minus 11h plus 28. The h squared term is missing. So I need to include that when I'm doing my dividing work. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, make it smaller so it can fit everything. So on my right, I put what I'm dividing by, the h minus 4. And I have h cubed plus 0h squared. So any term that's missing needs to be accounted for, and I just put a 0 as its coefficient. Okay, and how do I know if it's missing? When you start with your biggest exponent, there should be every exponent thereafter. So for example, because this is an x cubed, I need to see an x squared, an x to the first, and an x to the 0, which is just the constant. You don't actually write x to the 0. Okay, so now they're all there. We start. Divide, firsts by firsts. H cubed divided by h. H squared. Multiply. H squared times h is h cubed. H squared times negative 4 is negative 4h squared. Subtract. They cancel. 0 minus a negative 4 is a positive 4. Bring down, minus 11h. Now I repeat. Divide. 4h squared divided by h is a positive 4h. Multiply. 4h times h is 4h squared. 4h times negative 4 is negative 16h. Subtract. They cancel. Negative 11 minus a negative 16 is a positive 5h. Bring down. Repeat. Divide. 5h divided by h is 5. Multiply. 5 times h is 5h. 5 times negative 4 is a negative 20. Subtract. They cancel. 28 minus negative 2 is 48. There is nothing to bring down, and I can't go any farther because I can't do 48 divided by h and get anything, okay? So that means I have a remainder. So when I write my final answer, it is the x squared plus 4h plus 5. Now, just like you wrote a remainder before, it's the 48 over what you divided by, so over h minus 4. Okay, this came from up here, this, okay, and then the 48 came from being a remainder. You're not always going to have a remainder. Sometimes you will. All right. Let's do the next one. X cubed, x squared, x constant. Not missing any terms. 10x cubed plus x squared plus 3x plus 7. 5x minus 2 goes on the outside. All right, and we start the process. Divide, giving me 5x squared. Multiply. Oops, sorry, just kidding. That gives me a 2x squared. Sorry. And that was a good check because I know that those should cancel out. So if I did 5 times 5, I would have gotten 25 and they wouldn't have. 2x squared. Okay, so multiply, I get 10x cubed minus 4x squared. Subtract, they cancel. X squared minus a negative 4 is a positive 5x squared. Bring down. Repeat. Divide. 5x squared divided by 5x. Leaves me with x. Multiply. 5x squared minus 10x minus 2x, sorry. Subtract, they cancel. 3 minus a negative 2 is a positive 5x. Bring down. One last time, divide. 5x divided by 5x is 1. Multiply, I get 5x minus 2. Subtract, I get 7 minus negative 2 is 9, my remainder. Okay, so my final answer is 2x squared plus x plus 1 plus a 9 over the 5x minus 2, because that's my remainder. All right, we're going to do one more together, and I'll have you try the last one on your own. This one looks scarier than it is. A couple things to notice. I am dividing by 3 terms. That's okay. We're going to still literally follow the exact same process. But you also may notice things are out of order. When you write it, you need to write it in standard form. So this one, what I'm dividing by, should be x squared plus 2x plus 1. And what I'm dividing, 2x to the 4th. So I'm just rearranging it. It's in standard form from biggest exponent down to lowest. I have an x cubed. It also helps me make sure I'm not missing any terms. I have an x squared. I have an x and a minus 2. Same process, guys. Divide first by first. 2x to the 4th divided by x squared is 2x squared. Multiply 2x to the 4th. Multiply 4x cubed. Multiply 2x squared. So multiplying this by everything on the outside. Okay, so there's 3 terms this time. I multiply it 3 times. Subtract. Those cancel. 7 minus 4 is 3. Negative 3 minus 2 is a negative 5x squared. Bring down. So it's all the same stuff. Divide 3x cubed divided by x squared. Gives me 3x. Yes. All right. So I have 3x cubed. Now I'm multiplying. Plus 6x squared plus 3x. Now I subtract. They cancel. Negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11x squared. 6 minus 3 is positive 3x. Bring down the negative 2. Repeat. Divide. Negative 11x squared divided by negative x squared is negative 11x. Multiply negative 11x squared. Negative 22. Sorry, that should just be negative 11, guys, up top. I apologize. So negative 11x squared, negative 22x, and negative 11. Subtract. They cancel. 3 minus negative 22 is 25x. Negative 2 minus negative 11 is 9. All right, so this one I get 2x squared plus 3x minus 11 with a remainder of a positive 25x plus 9 over everything I'm dividing by. Okay, so yeah, it was a little bit longer. I had 3 things. Don't worry about it. You're just doing the same exact process. All right, I would like you to pause the video and try this last one on your own. Please do be aware, though, that there's a bunch of missing terms, so make sure you rewrite it with the missing terms. Please pause the video. All right, go ahead and take a look. You should got an x squared minus 3x plus 9 with a remainder of negative 54. Okay, please be careful of your signs when you're subtracting and everything. All right, there is a practice page already loaded onto our public class site. So if you did miss class, make sure you download. This is something you have to practice, okay? That is all.